I have a story to share, but it happened during the day at my ranch. Also, I'm not good at telling stories, but I figured this incident was relevant to the thread. Enjoy taking girlfriend out for rides on the ATV. Have the habit of screwing out in the wilderness. Know when it's going down because she'll just strip and bend over something, prompting me to chase her down. One day take a ride out to the pond, struggle through some brush to get right up to the water's edge and enjoy the scenery. She gets up to go squat. Look over, she laughs and screams, "Stop peeking." A sexless half hour goes by and we pack up to ride back to the house. Once there, she's having a snack on the porch while I'm playing with the rifle. See something twitchy and white near the brush, just up the trail leading from the pond. Wander about just beyond the gate to get a better angle. It's my girlfriend's pale booty. It's jerking slightly, like a poorly attempted twerk. Turn attention from the scope back to my girlfriend, who is blissfully eating her Doritos. Focus in again, it's moving a bit more fluidly like it's backing up against something. The head bobs up and down, bending awkwardly back like her hair was getting pulled. Dirty as damn Solace. Girlfriend always keeps her boots on outdoors. Then later, just before nightfall. Get ready to leave before shit gets pitch black. Sky is a beautiful familiar orange, but most of the ground has become blanketed in shadows. Peeking. Shrieks out from the distance. Girlfriend, paranoid as ever, pokes her head out of the truck and looks around, asks if I heard something. Let her know it was the coyotes, since they usually do start yelping and shit around that hour. Start the short drive out back to the highway. Peeking. Peeking. Girlfriend looks a little troubled, turns on the radio. They sound like they're talking. Weird shit always happens at the ranch. But it's mostly just what me and my dad come across. Remains and whatnot.
I live in the middle of the woods near Birmingham, Alabama, and I go hunting deep in the woods near Columbia, Mississippi. I don't have much about Alabama, but I'll post a few things about what we call our hunting club in Mississippi that I posted in a previous thread. Be me because of course I fucking am. First time out at the hunting club, not the first time I've been hunting. The hunting club is a fucking huge spot of land that used to be an old logging site until they suddenly stopped and wanted to sell. My friend B buys it immediately. B has no clue why they stopped or why they were so eager to sell it after about 5 years of business. Fuck it, it's cheap land, B says. B is fucking loaded, by the way, which is why he was so happy to buy the land but didn't care about dropping that much cash at once. Anyway, excited to hunt. Haven't had deer in about a year. Grab my gear the moment we arrive and B takes me to a stand he's seen a lot of deer in. Ah yeah, cold weather and a nice book to read. See a few doe but don't shoot, I've got the whole weekend to bag a buck. Right before sundown, maybe a half hour or so, hear a howl. Not a wolf's howl, or a bobcat, or anything I've heard before. And whatever it was sounded fucking pissed. Okay, a little spooked, but maybe it's a bear, I keep telling myself. Wasn't even sure if bears howled, but I was willing to believe anything to rationalize it. Then I start hearing it call my name. Not my full name, mind you, my nickname that everyone calls me. Don't recognize the voice, it's deep and gravelly and is having issues saying it, like what I imagine a Swedish or Russian would sound like trying to say my nickname. Alright, now that's fucking spooky. Scan the area, don't see anything, don't smell anything. Climb out of tree stand, pull 1911 and keep my thumb on the safety the whole walk back to my cart. Drive back to headquarters. Back at HQ, another friend, T, a middle-aged guy with a son about my age, has been to the club several times already, and shows up while we're eating. We're all shooting the breeze around the fire. T just offhandedly mentions how creepy it can be out at the club. Before I can say anything about what I heard, he starts talking about something that happened a few weeks ago. Said that while he was in his shooting house he heard his son screaming for help, like he had fallen out of his tree stand. The problem was that the screaming came from the wrong direction. Texts his son asking if he's okay, thank fuck we can just barely get a signal. Son texts back that he's back at headquarters cutting up a hog he got. T realizes that whatever shouted for help was not his son, and that nobody else was on the property at the time. T shits bricks and rushes back to headquarters. I tell them what I heard and everyone gets silent. B doesn't let me go back to that stand, still hasn't to this day. Separate occasion. One night I waited a little too long to get out of the stand. Dark by now, relying on my shit sense of direction and my itty bitty headlight. Where the fuck did I park the cart? Ain't no way I'm walking back. By this point I have gone in the opposite direction of the cart, but I didn't know that at the time. Just following a small trail, thinking it was right. Everything looks the fucking same at night. Find a small wooden cabin while I'm walking. Broken windows, roof caving in, all the usual spooky shit. Okay, well this place was a logging site, maybe this was like a rest area or something. Oh, but wait. The door's been ripped off of its hinges and is lying in the dirt. Splatters of dark shit on the door frame. And what looked like a damn deer leg that had been ripped off of its owner balanced in the broken window. Well, fuck me running. Heart is racing, hands are sweaty. Turn 360 degrees and moonwalk out of there. Just kidding, I ran the fuck away. Just kidding, I don't want to die. I power walk back so I don't piss off whatever is out here and incite a chase. Finally find the fucking cart. Get back to camp. Ask B about the cabin, try to give him a good idea of where it is. B squints and says nothing. Well, alright then. Later that year, go back to that stand. Out of curiosity leave my stand an hour before sunset and go looking for that cabin like a dumbass. Well, I found it. Whole thing's caved in. Ask B about it later. He says it was in the way, needed to get rid of it. This one is super short. Sleeping in our little hunting trailer on the third night we're up there. Nice and cozy, 4:30 a.m. comes early so we're asleep at 9 p.m. Suddenly wake up to a loud bang and feel the trailer being rocked from the north side of the trailer, the side facing the woods. Wake the fuck up, grab 1911 and a flashlight and rush out with B and Dad in tow. Nothing there. WTF, we did not all just have a mass hallucination.jpg. Shrug and figure that's a problem to think about at 4:30 not 2:30 and head back inside. Dad grabs my shoulder before I can turn and takes my flashlight. Shines it on the trailer. Huge dent in the trailer and a fucking splat of blood in the middle, like something had cut itself on the crumpled metal of the trailer when it hit it. Don't sleep the rest of the night. Try to follow the blood trail in the morning but it stops very early in the forest. Plus I don't want to fucking go near whatever was pissed off enough to smack our trailer. Last one for this group. B has a lot of friends, this particular one we'll call H. H comes back early one evening telling us he's got 2 hogs and wants some help getting them in the cart whatever, grab rifle and 1911 and hop in. On the way, H explains that he killed one decent sized hog, and it dropped where he shot it, but another hog came out just a few feet away afterwards and he shot her too, but this one managed to get into the brush. Alright, cool, I like tracking, my favorite part of hunting. Get to the spot, figure we'll grab the one that he dropped immediately first and then get to searching. Drive up, and the hog is gone. Oh boy, here we go again. GIF. Just a pool of blood, and then obvious signs of the pig being dragged away. H is wondering where the hell it went, it's only been 5 minutes since he killed it. Very obvious blood trail into the woods, whatever dragged the pig away wasn't concerned about being followed. Follow it a bit of a way before we start finding Tom flesh and shit. More than a little spooked. H says, fuck it, it's just a pig, it can have it, and we kinda power walk back to the cart. Ask if we should look for the other pig. Says he's not hungry enough to meet whatever dragged the first pig away and hops in the cart.
Be me. Grow up in shitfuck suburb and hate it all my life. Grow disgusted by my hometown by the time I'm 18 and decide to fuck college and drift. I'm a poor fig who didn't even browse/k/ at the time, so the only gun I ever bought was a tiny BP Derringer for $75. I had a shit ton of knives though, and I decided this was good enough for traveling. I set out from shitty California and head east through the Southwest. Have a good time, I saw more nature in those weeks than in my entire 18 years of life. Everything is good and I end up in the Midwest eventually. Some nights I don't want to spend the cash on a motel, so I camp out in a tent next to my shit box. I'm somewhere in the middle of Ohio. When shit got weird. I had just put out my fire and put away my food. I wasn't even in my tent yet when I heard something from a patch of tall grass across from my car. I had placed myself in between a couple of trees for cover. Didn't want some highway patrol bugging me if I was spotted. I only heard a small rumble at first. You know when something is only creeping you out a little bit, it seems to escalate with every second. I was spooked shitless but telling myself it's all good. I crouched down to get into my tent when my fucking ears buzz with a weird hum. Holy shit, what is that? I look up to see if it's a plane or something or if it's wind. Nope. I whip my head around looking for something or anything that can make that noise. Then I see it in the tall grass. It was just a round lump the size of a bowling ball sticking over the blades of grass. What the fuck? My hand goes to my pistol and I'm not looking away. My brain says it's probably just a piece of junk or a tree stump or something. Then it hums again. My ears hurt more this time, it's so goddamn loud. I recoil for a second and it's just gone. No more lump in the grass. I keep scanning everything around me for some kind of clue. No. Nothing. The whole place was still and had that kind of silence that deafens you. In a split second the air went from still to a slight breeze. I decided to get my flashlight from my car and just see if maybe there's something out there. It's so goddamn dark, I grab my light and shine it on the tent. It had a hole in it. Not a small tear that could have been my fault, but a giant gaping hole a large dog could fit through. Fuck that. I make a break for my car and fuck off down the road. I don't stop until I find a well-lit town with a motel. That's all I got for now. Later on in this trip this thing followed me. But I gotta drive somewhere, so I'll be back in an hour. Oh fuck that. I'm back. If anyone is still interested in the whatever it was. I'll post anyway though. It's been 2 weeks since Ohio. I refused to sleep outside since. Been in motels or my car most nights. Little pistol never leaves my side. For a few days after I'd have dreams with the same hum in my ears. I end up in Tennessee and make friends with some people. Get invited to a party, this was before I was a need. Shit is cash. Fucking people there are wild as fuck. Never seen so many girls with low morals and lower sexual standards. Fuck 7.7 out of 10, which is probably the most unbelievable part of this story. She's actually cool as fuck afterwards. We chill the next day before I gotta head out. The next night we're gonna fuck again, we're in my car. Find a huge patch of trees. We stop and I hear it again. The fucking hum. Somewhere in the middle of Ohio. When shit got weird. Well, there you have it, friend. Ohio is the fucking Twilight Zone. She hears it too. I'm thankful I'm not schizophrenic, but also fuck, I thought this was over. Anon, what the fuck is that? I'm fucking white, she can tell I'm not dealing with this alright. We got to get out of here. The second we're up and our pants are back on, something slams into the car. She screams, I scream too. We're fucking done with this. I turn on the car and the hum gets loud again like last time. My headlights come on and it's there in front of us for a second. It makes a mad dash for cover like an animal. She shrieks so loud. What the fuck was that? What is that thing? I'm going to do my best to describe it. It stood on its rear legs at about 3 feet tall. Like I posted before, it was strangely ethereal, like it was and wasn't there. Its head seemed to blend in its body, there wasn't a neck to speak of. Its arms were long and spindly, covered in skin like a bird without feathers. Its face had eyes like a human's, dead set in the front, and a thin pursed lip under a nose that also seemed to blend into its head. We fuck off and drive with the hum still loud. She's borderline weeping at this point, and so am I. I pull my pistol out of the center console and never let go of it. She lets me stay over that night and we don't talk about it. The next morning I'm telling her the story from Ohio. I say I'm leaving, so it shouldn't be here if it actually is following me. She's so scared and shaking. I give her my number so we can text because besides that I enjoyed her company. Next few days she says she has dreams with the hum. I still have them too. One day she texts me that there's a dead bird on her porch. The next day I wake up in my motel and there's a dead bird outside my door. We never had any dreams of the kind again. Stop talking altogether. That's been about the only time something like this has happened. Sorry if it's a shit story, and my credibility is non-existent for posting this on 4chan, but seriously be careful when alone.
Okay, so I started a thread on /b/ about this and they said it was /x/territory. I've never really been to this board, so pardon any offenses I commit to /x/customs. I know the reputation of anyone coming from /b/ to another board, but I hope you can look past that and give me some help here. I live in the Texas Hill Country by a river in a small town and I had some co-workers over tonight. One of them hadn't seen my river yet and I'd been telling her how awesome it was, but it was raining when they got here. It just stopped raining a little bit ago, so we all walked down to the river in the moonlight to check it out. You have to walk down this tree-lined path off the road, which takes a turn and goes downhill to the river. There's a bank on the other side covered with trees that goes back maybe 15 yards from the edge of the water until it reaches a cliff wall that goes up maybe 10 yards and is pretty steep. It's dark, but the moon is giving us some light because Texas weather can never make up its mind if it's raining or clear, and our eyes have adjusted at this point. We brought a couple beers with us and we're sitting on the rocks talking. My buddy Jarrett is sitting across from me with his girlfriend and this new girl is sitting next to me. He's in the middle of a sentence, looking between me and the girl next to me, when he looks back over both of our shoulders, widens his eyes and cuts off what he was saying with "holy fuck" in this really quiet voice. We turn around and I barely have time to register what I'm seeing because it was dark. There was something black about half as tall as the cliff, so 15 feet tallish, on these extremely spindly legs noiselessly sprinting through the trees on the opposite bank. I couldn't make out the shape too well, but my impression was that it was covered in long hair and its body and head were kind of like a dog looking down, but stretched longer. Most of its height was in its legs, which were really thin. Jared turned on the flashlight and shone it across the water at the thing and it stopped moving and turned to look at us. It had humongous eyes that reflected the light from the flashlight. After a split second of this, it turned away from us and just scaled the cliff as easily as it was striding across the ground and disappeared from sight. We stared for a second and then we just ran back to my house. We shat bricks over what we saw, and then they all just went home. All four of us saw the thing and we all seemed to be in agreement on what it looked like. I think my heart rate finally went back to normal just before I started writing this, and now it's back up. What happens now? Do I call animal control or something? I don't know what this thing is, if it's dangerous, or what. I don't want to go outside or even look out my window at the trees. Also, I didn't score with the new girl and we left like 5 unopened beers on the bank of the river. What the fuck? Everything after the first paragraph was copy-pasted from my /b/ thread.
Be 12 years old. Sleep over at this lagoon near my house, complete with slides, water, grass, sand, and an open dock to take boats out to the lake nearby. Sleepover was for Cub Scouts. I wasn't in Boy Scouts, but my friend was and he invited me to stay the night. 12 a.m., witching hour begins. Start to feel the hair on my neck stand up, feels like someone is watching me, ominous vibes. Look across the lagoon toward the docks, see the light turn on. It's one of those motion sensing lights, it only turns on when someone is nearby. Also, it doesn't turn on for smaller animals like ducks or rabbits, only for larger sized animals like coyotes or humans. It turns off automatically after a minute. Feel spooked out, go with my friend to talk to the guard at the entrance to the lagoon and tell him what's up. Guard is also perplexed as to why the light came on. The docks close at dusk. We decide to all walk over to the docks. Ominous feeling increases as we approach the docks. Search everywhere / check everything. Can't find anyone / anything wrong except one thing. The one thing out of place is that the sales cabinet was unlocked. Guard told me that the cabinet is always locked, even during open hours for security reasons. Proceeds to lock up the cabinet. Head on back to the tents on the other side of the lagoon. Be back at the tents with my friend, having a friendly chat with some of the Cub Scouts' dads. Keep getting that feeling someone is watching me over by the docks, so I keep checking back. 1:15 a.m. now, prime witching hour time. Look over toward the docks at coincidentally the same time as my friend. Both of us see something move near the docks, between two short pillars. Whatever it was pitch black, had an amoeba shape to it, and it was maybe 5 feet tall and 6 feet wide. It moved very quickly between the two pillars, and I knew my eyes weren't playing tricks on me for lack of sleep because my friend saw it move too. Saw it move again between two more pillars. My friend didn't see it that time. Coincidentally, when the guard had to leave since his shift was over, the phantom popped out soon after. This has been the only confirmed sighting of a ghost / phantom in my lifetime. I've had weird paranormal experiences / reality glitches before, but they could all be rationalized in some way. This, however, still boggles me today. I have now translated my account into a Greentext, and I'm ready to hear possible explanations. Be me, 14, living in Elkin, North Carolina. Older brother Tyler is 16. We're close. We had a whole lot of woods behind our property. It went on for a while. Christmas break, all the trees are dead, the ground is really thick with leaves. We go out for a walk like we often do. We don't talk because we can't hear each other over the crunching of the leaves. We get to this creek which may or may not be deep into someone else's private property, we're not sure. It's not very deep but a few yards wide, sandy creek bed, leaf clumps by the banks. We are about 15 feet from the water. Tyler is balancing on a rotting log talking, I'm standing nearby. Windless, chilly, overcast sky and I suddenly felt uneasy before anything even happened. Then there's a noise across the creek like a footstep. Tyler stops talking. The noise comes back and we see some leaves kick up, other side of the creek. It's like a little puff of leaves just kind of explode upward a little, with a crunching sound you'd expect. Hard to describe, I know. It keeps happening across the creek, with maybe like 2 seconds between crunches. Each crunch is a few feet away from the last. There's some animal over there playing in the leaves, says Tyler. A mouse, probably, that's routinely jumping for some reason, but it's also somehow covering a lot of ground between jumps. Crunch, crunch. The crunching comes toward us, in a line, reaches the creek. Silence. We watch the far bank to see what it is. Seconds pass. A crunch on our side. I think it's gotta be a wind vortex or something. My heart is pounding, haven't moved. Crunch. I'm staring at the spot really looking for something in the leaves. Crunch. Tyler is gone. My heart stops. He's gone, he's vanished, he's not on the log or anywhere. He was there 1 second ago. There is nowhere to hide with all the leafless skinny trees, and if he touched the ground at all, even really far away, I would hear it. I can't stress enough how there's no way he could have disappeared that quickly. He's been taken? Crunch right in front of me. I'm running. I have no idea if the thing is still chasing me, run for my life back home. My chest is killing me but I cannot stop running, have never been this scared. I'm looking around wildly for Tyler, he is not anywhere, I should have seen him. Get to my backyard where my mom and Tyler are both waiting for me. He's alive. They look terrified, asking what happened and I can't even breathe enough to explain, my lungs are frozen. Tyler says you disappeared. A lot of confusion. Apparently his account is that the crunching stopped right when the thing crossed the creek. I remember a few more crunches on our shore, and that I had vanished and he had freaked out and ran. I insisted that he disappeared first and then I ran. They had been waiting for me for a full minute, according to Tyler and Mom. What? That timeline makes no sense. Why was I that slow getting back? Mom says we both got spooked and ran at the same time, but that still doesn't explain how he got back so fast. Lots of talk. She gets pretty worried about us because of how freaked out we were. We go inside and get warm. I take a shower to clear my head. Me and Tyler talk about this non-stop for months. It becomes a whole thing where we finally build up the courage to return to the creek half a year later, but we don't find anything. I don't tell a lot of people, and I gradually start downplaying how scary it was to my friends that I did tell. Very emotionally scarring. Very strange. Moved a few years later. Michael and I will still reminisce. We wonder if we imagined it sometimes. I have no idea what happened, and as far as I know nothing like that has happened to anyone. If any of you ghost experts or demonologists have theories, I would be happy to hear them.
Some background info: I live right by a bike trail cuts into a dense forest that goes on and on for miles. The trail is actually laid upon old railroad tracks, and along the way there are still old pre-1900s buildings lost in the dense forest that still remains unexplored. When I was a kid I was always deathly afraid to go out into these woods for some reason. Well, what I encountered today has rekindled that fear. This afternoon at about 1 o'clock I really felt like riding my bike. The weather is so nice now and I love being alone out in the woods away from everyone, so it was perfect. I pack up a notebook, a pen, always on hand in case of inspiration, and a big bottle of water and head off into the woods. The opening is so tiny against the vast dense forest you have to know exactly where it is to find it. It always seems spooky and mystical because it's just this black, almost doorway-looking void amidst this mountain of trees and underbrush. I speed down the hill as usual and in a couple of seconds reach the crossroads. One goes forward into the thickest parts of the forest, the left goes towards the city and highway, and the right goes out into the open endless fields and farmland with a big patches of forest spread throughout. I sat there for a little bit, took a swig of water and head right. I haven't been out very far past the fields before and I have a day to kill, so I keep going and going and going. Past the open fields and the huge pastures, past the familiar broken down railroad checkpoint or whatever it is, past the one single house that lies just outside the trail, past the huge rusting metal bridge. So I'm going and going and going, and eventually I see a beware sign nailed to a tree, then another, then a couple all together nailed to an old busted phone line, and finally a huge wooden barricade that says "Stay out." Pick related, except imagine thicker and the trail like 20 feet higher than the tree bases. The thing was already pushed partially out of the way like someone had been in before me, and being the rebel that I am I just had to see what was back there, something I soon came to regret. So I am riding again and the forest is far thicker than before, and on each side of the trail about 4 inches out it drops right off, steep as fuck and deadly, that's for sure. At this point I'm a bit uneasy as it is completely silent, not a fucking sound. I mean, this is deep, thick forest, why am I not hearing any animals? Immediately after this realization I come upon an opening finally. Down below it's now swampy and dark, the trees are far and few between and rise out of these deep dark pools of water. I'm creeped out at this point, it's eerie as fuck out here, I'm totally alone and I'm getting tired. I start crossing this very sketchy old wooden bridge, slowly, and then hear this deep low grumble and immediately pause. Nothing but eerie empty silence, not a fucking sound all around me. I then carefully start again and realize it's just my tire, the fucking thing has gone flat. I have no idea how I didn't realize this earlier at any point in my trip. I mean, it was totally and utterly dead. Then I hear this dreadful fucking blood-curdling scream tear through silence. I'm fucking teary-eyed and have goosebumps as I tell this. I am frozen, I have no idea what it was, no idea where it was, and of all fucking times my tire is fucking flat as a 9-year-old Chinese boy. A stick breaks and I immediately whip my bike around and started pedaling my fucking ass off. All of a sudden I start hearing shit crashing in the woods and I don't dare fucking look out there. I am swerving all over this shitty trail because it is covered in pebbles, holes, cracks, broken branches and all kinds of other shit that can all totally kill me at this speed. And somehow before I didn't see these clumps of white stringy fur all caught on the trees and along the trail. The sounds of something racing through this dense thick brush are so loud I can hear it over my horrendously obnoxious flat tire squishing and squashing on the ground as I am almost spinning the chain off the gear. At this point a million things are racing through my mind. My legs are absolutely burning from riding so far out into the woods and now blazing back on this goddamn tire. Fuck. I swerved right on the edge of the trail and the sandy pebbly shit went flying out into the trees, jumped over a huge pothole and heard another loud ass scream. That didn't even faze me at this point. I am just pounding my legs, breathing so hard my chest hurts and waiting for my tire to explode at any moment and to finally get eaten by whatever the fuck is chasing me. I just missed the barricade, literally centimeters from crashing head first into the thing. Finally I see a light off in the distance. I'm close to getting back on the fields and back towards home. I'm filled with a new wind of energy and kick it in hyperdrive now. The sounds of crashing are now getting softer, slower. Then stop. I fucking made it. I finally made it. I'll zoom right out into the sunlight. I've never been happier in my fucking life to feel the sun in my eyes. At that moment I just stop. The fatigue just immediately hits me like a wave. I'm dead fucking tired and couldn't move another inch. I turned my head around to look back at whatever the fuck was there, and in the darkness I see two red burning eyes just staring right at me. I felt my entire body go cold. Then in a flash they were gone. I rode back fast as I could but eventually slowed down and crawled my way all the way back. I downed what little bit of water I had left, and even though it was hot I wasn't sweating one drop. I was literally frozen from that stare. Did I see a fucking Goatman /X/? Tomorrow I'm getting a gun license and buying a shotgun and never going out into those woods again. Fuck, I'm even considering moving into a city away from any wooded areas now. Could you describe it? Dude, you get a good look? It was tall, taller than me at least, and I'm 6'2". It was slim and had long limbs, and I could see it was pale under the scattered light that broke through the canopy.
I have a couple of wood stories. Always thought they sucked balls, but I'll share. I'm in the UK, so we don't really have much wildlife apart from foxes, rabbits and the occasional deer or owls, so make of it what you will. I used to go camping with my granddad. One time he said he'd found this awesome secluded spot called the Trough of Boland. While working, he delivered plant machinery, so he drove all over the country. So we went up there. The Trough is as much as bumfuck nowhere as you get in England, no TV, radio or cell phone signals, likely due to the geography. Anyway, we camped there a couple of times and never saw anyone or anything. It was great. Third time we went there, though, there was this little stream right by the camp in a narrow ditch a few feet deep, and there was this dead sheep, all mummified, like kind of half climbing out of the stream. We didn't think too much of it. We just camped further away and made sure to use water from a few minutes upstream to avoid any nasty stuff from the corpse. That night it was so cold we couldn't even sleep, so we went back to the van so we could lay in the back with the little cigarette lighter powered heater on and get warm, and we hear this god-awful screaming outside. Foxes scream like fuck. It was scary, but we knew what it was. We hear banging and sounds outside like our camp was getting trashed. Foxes in England will sometimes do things like this out of curiosity, hunger. So we went out to scare him off. Our camp was totally wrecked, just scattered everywhere. The tents were both torn to bits and the stuffing from the sleeping bags was all ripped up, and worst of all, that fucking dead sheep was nowhere to be found. All that happened in the space of maybe 30 seconds to a minute. We didn't hang around. We packed up everything and just got out of there and never went back. Next post, my other story. Brit Forg here again. I'm sure some of you are familiar with the black cats, big dogs and so-called Beast of Bodmin Moor stories of the UK. A few years back I was driving up from the south back to my home in Yorkshire. I don't know what road I was on, but it was out in the countryside and it was fairly late at night, about 11 p.m. Just woodland on each side of the road, pitch black except for the headlights, which I only had on low. As I was only doing about 30 miles per hour. Suddenly there's this huge bang, like I'd hit something with the car, but no jerk or bumps or I thought I'd hit a bird. I pulled in, shitting my pants that I'd damaged my mother's car. I had to check. It was in the middle of nowhere, but what if I'd hit a drunk farmer or something? Anyway, I got the torch out of the boot, trunk, and shined it around a bit, left the car running. I couldn't see anything so I walked back a bit to where I estimated I'd hit something but couldn't find anything at all. I'll admit I get spooked a bit sometimes and my heart is going apeshit from the adrenaline of thinking I'd hit something, so I'm walking back to the car to sit down and calm down before I start driving again. I put the torch back and got to the driver's side rear door, and up ahead in the road on the edge of the headlights is this huge dog just standing there watching me, eyes just shining bright green from the light. It was big too, like the size of a Rottweiler, but less stocky and all black. I just jumped back in the car and drove like hell until I was in the nearest town. I stopped at a pub for a piss and people kept asking me if I was okay, saying I looked pale as a ghost and telling me to be careful. My uncle from Wales told me stories about his encounters with the Gwilgi when he was growing up. They sound terrifying. I'm glad the US doesn't have such ghosties haunting its thoroughfares. Just thinking about encountering one alone at night gives me the heebie-jeebies. Sounds like old shuck to me. I've seen big black dogs twice. Once out near Wells next the sea. Might have been up near Blakeney, Stewkey way. Long years ago. On a school trip. Few of us saw a big old black dog on the muds just prowling on its own. It seemed strange because we watched it for a long time and no owner ever followed. It just kept walking alone. The second time was with a friend down at Hemsby. We weren't far from the beach, had just followed one of the paths up from the caravan site when this huge old black mass ran past us toward the town. Needless to say, that time we went straight back to the caravan and went to bed. We call it the Barghest up here in Yorkshire, but there's not many who believe in the black dogs anymore. I certainly wouldn't if it wasn't for actually seeing one. Perhaps you'd like to share some of your uncle's stories of the hound. Yep. Apparently if a black dog gazes on you or you make eye contact, it means something tragic is about to befall you. Your death or the death of someone close, says the legend. Well, I did say my story was a bit shite. The obvious explanation is that the foxes smelled our food and decided to help themselves while we were in the van, but it was the dead sheep being gone that got me. Likely it just fell into the ditch and hadn't gone anywhere, but it wouldn't make for a good story if I just said that. I never said the story was good. But encountering a mastiff on a lonely road at night is scary enough without it being supernatural. That's what the legends say. That they're dogs of destiny, fate and tragedy follows after you meet one. Whether it was someone's escaped pet or a farm dog or something, I don't know, but the thought of meeting one should give anyone from the UK the willies.
Ask friend if he knows anyone who had access to some tools I needed to finish a project. Says sure, he knows a guy from work that would be happy to help. Apparently he was interested in the same kind of art. But warns me he's a bit off. Drive friend to work one day, he introduces me. Guy seems really distant and withdrawn, shakes my hand and we chat a bit. He seems real interested in the woodwork I was doing, and we talked about sculptures and such for a little while, things we'd learned, tools we used, etc. Guy warms up a bit, and I ask him if it would be alright if I checked out some of his stuff. He hesitantly agrees, kind of like when you're trying to come up with an excuse, but just can't. He tells me to swing by that night, we can chat over a few beers. Okay, sure. Later that night I get a call, it's the guy, he sounds a little shaken up, says things chaotic at home, and right now isn't a good time. Says he'll call me sometime. Whatever, sure man. 2 weeks go by. Guy calls one afternoon, says things have settled down, and he wants me to bring over some of my works as well, to compare and blah blah blah. Sure dude, so I start to head over, and notice this guy lives in the middle of fucking nowhere. I had to call him up just to find his house. It's at the end of a long driveway, beautiful acre plus of land, the driveway is littered with trees, and his house is actually pretty nice. As I come up the driveway, something strikes me odd about the trees I'm passing up, they all have faces carved into them facing the driveway. Twisted, pained faces. I didn't think much of it, I make morbid stuff myself. And in fact I was very impressed, the amount of detail was staggering. Looking out onto the tree line of the property, every tree had pained face looking in on the house, almost like the woods were watching you wherever you were. This actually kind of creeped me out. Looking out was like seeing 100 or so white faces, just crying out. Go on. Kind of like they wanted your attention. Knock on the door, guy answers with a beer in hand, and a much friendlier demeanor than before. Helps me carry some of my stuff in, and he shows me around. Guy seems pretty cool. Begin to notice each room has one of those same damned faces hanging above the doorframe. The more I saw them, the more I felt sick. Up close the faces were more detailed than I had imagined, almost surrealistic. I asked him what his focus on the faces were for, and the guy kind of tensed up and dodged my question. Upon entering his workshop, which was fucking sweet by the way, he seemed to have other interests besides creepy faces. Entire 7-foot sculptures of women, men, animals, etc. All very well done. And one with a tarp in the back, just chilling there. He says it isn't done yet, so I don't bother. It was right in front of a door that I think led to another room. We begin working on stuff together, trading stories and times we had accidentally injured ourselves. Suddenly subjects change, guy asks me what I think about God. Tell him I'm not very religious, but I don't rule anything out. Guy starts getting a bit loud, saying that God is a blatant lie, he was told so. By who? He kinda silenced for a moment, and then abruptly asked me if I believed in spirits. Gave him kind of the same answer, it's possible. He starts looked around the room, as if seeing if anyone is around, and then his voice goes soft, and he kind of whispers for a moment. I see things in the woods, at dusk I can see their shadows, sometimes they whisper from the trees, and I can hear them. Fucking nope. Obviously guy is mentally disturbed. Egg him on, ask what they tell him, etc. They tell him that God is a lie, only thing after death is darkness. He says they laugh at him, and leave dead animals at his tree line. Officially creeped out at this point. He said for a while they visited him at night, and each face carving represented a different spirit that had visited him. Says that they can't stand looking at themselves in death, so they don't step within the tree line, thus why he has the entire thing carved out. I'm pretty silent at this point, I hadn't had goosebumps so bad since I was a kid. And chills just running up my spine. He told me they talk to him from the tree line at night, and try to get him to leave his home. I eagerly try to change the subject. Guy looks down and just keeps talking, he's pale as a sheet, and was obviously genuinely terrified. He even kind of looks like he's welling up. Tells me I'm the only person he's told, knowing I'm a stranger he apologizes, says he's scared and doesn't know what to do anymore. I try my best to awkwardly console this stranger, and the guy actually kind of starts to break down. I think he needs help. But it's not my place to give it to him. Regrettingly ask him why he's afraid. Says the faces don't work anymore, and 2 weeks ago he had something terrible in his living room. Huh. He walks over to the tarp sculpture and pulls the tarp off, to reveal the most mangled, terrible thing I have ever seen. It hardly resembled a human being. It was terrifying to have imagined this guy seeing it standing in his living room. Shortly after, a loud bang on the wall to my right. I nearly jumped out of my skin. This guy didn't even flinch. Then again bang, then it just continued on and on, continuously, like hail hitting a tin roof. Guy screams, "Stop it!" And it ceases. After that I grabbed my shit, tell the guy I'm sorry, and got out of there as quickly as possible. As I'm leaving his home and driveway, I look into the rearview mirror. The tree line is darker than I've ever seen. Guy calls a week later and apologizes, says he was silly and everything is okay now. Friend says guy quit, never hear from him again.
Oregon, just tonight. Sitting around outside on porch. See my friend walking weirdly across the road. Always fairly paranoid, around a 4 to 6 on a scale of 10, with 10 being dangerously schizophrenic. He does a weird march type gait similar to the really fancy Marine marching in ceremonies. Never seen him walk like that, know something is up instantly and keep a hard eye on him. He walks up his porch to his house and knocks on the door. He lives alone. Just stands there. Want to go up and check on him, be a good friend, but dropping a load in my pants and can't make myself move. He holds his hand up, can't see what he's doing with it because of entryway. After a moment he puts it down and puts the other one up, open the door and just stands there. Twitches a bit and walks in. Slowly get inside, fucking crapping my pants and ready to call the police. Get idea to call him first. Call the dog in and lock the doors just in case, read enough horror stories. Takes a while for him to pick up. Doesn't say anything. Hey man, are you okay? Yeah, with a really weird inflection on, yeah, sounded like he didn't really know. Ask him why he was acting weird. Sorry, what? Ask him again. I can't hear you, dude, someone is talking on the phone. After a while of talking with him, steadily it becoming really creepy. Hang up, call friend he was with earlier. Haha, Anon, I gave him some acid I bought yesterday, he's high as a fucking kite. I wanted to shoot the fucker, I was so pissed.
I apologize for coming in with something unrelated, but on the subject of wild spirits, is anyone familiar with a spirit that has the body of a man and the head of a deer? A stag, specifically. I posted last year about a night terror I had with one looming over me, and during the hurricane last year another family member had an eerie similar experience. And for the first time since I was 8, I had sleep paralysis the other night. No figments, hags, or whatever, but I'm wanting to read into this sort of entity more now, if it's a thing that isn't specific to just me and, now, my cousin. There are a lot of nature spirits, protectors of the forest and such that have a similar look. Head of a deer, antlers on their head, etc. Mind posting the nightmare? I don't mind. Hopefully this is as coherent as my last posting of it, as I don't retell this often, and rarely visit /x/ to begin with. I'll try to be brief. I live in a rural part of the South. When I was young, I spent a lot of time at my grandparents', often staying the night. Their land is thickly wooded, with only the house, the homes of nearby family members, and the dirt road leading away from the property being what you'd describe as clear. I loved it there, and still do even though I rarely visit, especially now that my grandfather has passed. My grandfather had a ritual. He would stay up till 12, and then he would leave the house to go around the property and check on the dogs, make sure his shed was still locked, etc. He would come back, lock the door, and go to sleep. He had never deviated from this routine. I can still picture where I lay in the house. The couch I slept on when I stayed over jutted out and away from the wall, creating a narrow aisle when entering the door, with a wall on one side and the back of the couch on the other. It was with me laying on the couch, able to see the open door clearly, that the thing stood over me. It hadn't crossed around the couch, but loomed over the back of it, not threateningly, but like it was watching me. It had the body of a man, shirtless, and I don't remember if it was muscular or anything. I was 8 or 9 at the time, and I didn't really think in those terms, but thinking back on it, I do want to say that it was probably what you'd describe as toned. It had the head of a stag, I remember that clearly. I can't tell you what kind of rack it had, just that it definitely had antlers, and I'm wondering now how it even fit through the doorway, to be honest. I was definitely afraid. I can't say that I wasn't. I don't think it was threatening. I never mentioned the incident to my grandparents. I didn't want to think about it, but not for the reason you might think. I was 8, so it wasn't like I was worried they'd think I was crazy. Rather, I remember being confused. To this day, I don't like thinking about what I felt then, but it was essentially like I was questioning myself and what I was. I had a big disconnect with being human. I specifically recall wondering if I had dreamt my life, and when I'd wake up. It was a strange experience, and a fleeting one, because I had pretty much forgotten about the confusion for years. Cue the hurricane last year. I hadn't been to my grandparents to stay for a while. By then, my grandfather had passed, but, traditionally, when a hurricane happens, the whole family gets together, extended and otherwise, at my grandparents'. So that's what we did. I want to stress that I hadn't even thought about my experience. It wasn't until my cousin woke up screaming, with the door wide open, that I began to recall what I had experienced. Mind you, I'm not saying I subconsciously blocked them either, I had just forgotten them. An Anon/X/ asked me back when I first gave my experience to get in touch with her, and I did, but she was pretty tight-lipped about what she saw. Only that someone had come in. Nothing really worth pressing her on. But lately, I've been having some pretty terrible sleep, waking up in the middle of the night, sometimes with sleep paralysis. It hadn't been a full-blown night terror yet, but still. Thing is, I live right next door to my grandparents now. Hence the curiosity, and that nagging voice in the back of my head wanting to make connections. Anyways, some background, my great-grandmother was Native. My family's never been particularly into Native culture though. Nobody is going to confuse me for being Native, although I've got a pretty good natural tan going on, same as my brother. For the most part, the look hasn't really sprung up after my maternal grandmother and her twin. I've done some minor looking into what I might have seen, if it wasn't just a hallucination, and I've seen similar spirits mentioned, but never really named. That's my story, nothing amazing or anything, but the experience has me curious. This wasn't as brief as I thought it'd be. Anyways, if anyone has any leads, I'd appreciate them. Also, this is literally the only thing I've ever experienced in my life. No ghosts, aliens, or cisgendered yetis, although plenty of family members have had stories to tell about their experiences.
Original post date, March 8, 2009. Sorry, can't really contribute more, but here's my short thing. Was obsessed with aliens as a kid. Used to do rituals to make them appear. Basically just me standing outside in driveway after marking it up with symbols I made up in a crop circle thing that I'd stand in the middle of. Very cringy, neighbors think I'm special. Just want to see aliens. One day I'm out there chanting in tongues or whatever and trying to conjure up aliens when this car pulls up. Window rolls down. Old lady appears. Asks me what I'm doing. Tell her I'm summoning aliens. She asks me if that's something I really want to do. Duh, old lady. She nods and proceeds to tell me a story that fucks me up for years. Says she used to be really into aliens too and wanted to get abducted. Kid me 100% believes this and is fascinated. She says one night a light came into her room and touched her and she woke up 3 days later in another city. Has no memory of what happened to her during that time. Then she stares at me and I get this really bad feeling. Stranger danger is activated and I start backing off, but she doesn't do anything. Phrases her next thing really strangely, so I remember it exactly. Maybe it wasn't the me that left, that is the me talking to you. How would you ever know? Don't get it. Say something snarky back like, fingerprintsta. She says something like, if you could make a person identical to who they are but with someone else inside, would anyone ever know? I'm so scared I can't move. She's staring at me with a totally serious face, and the only way I can really describe it is it's like there's no light in her car. Like the inside is as dark as it would be at night even though it's daytime, and the only thing I can see is her. But not really. Like it's all in my head? She tells me maybe someday I'll want that, but that for now I should go back inside and stop trying to do what I'm doing. Decide that's a great idea. Book it back into the house while she stares at me. Wait inside until she leaves and stays gone for at least an hour. Go back out, get rid of my summoning circle. Have nightmares for years about this woman appearing in my room at night and asking if she can borrow my body.